Harimi, harimi, al tirai, harimi, al tirai. Imri le'arei Yehuda, hine Elokeichem. Harimi, harimi, al tirai.
Hello, welcome to Pirkei Avos with Rabeinu Yonah, and we are in the middle of Mishnah number 9 in chapter 2, the middle of 2:9. So let's go over the first part of the Mishnah, and we'll continue where we left off with the explanation of Rabeinu Yonah. Amr lahem, he said to them, Su'uru ezu derech yashar she'yitbek ba'adam. So Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said to his students, what is the straight path that a person should cleave to? Rabbi Eliezer Omer, ayin tova. Rabbi Eliezer said he should have a good eye. Rabbi Shua Omer, Rabbi Shua says, chaver tov, he should have a good friend. Rabbi Yossi Omer, Rabbi Yossi says, shachin tov, a good neighbor. Rabbi Shimon Omer, Rabbi Shimon says, haroa esaneilad, seeing what's going to happen. Rabbi Elazar Omer, Rabbi Elazar says, leiv tov, a good heart. Amr lahem, he said to them, roa ani es divrei Rabbi Elazar ben Arach, shebechlal dvarav divreichem. I see the words of Rabbi Elazar ben Arach because included in his words is all of your words. So Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai felt that a good heart is the most important thing. If a person has to choose what character trait to go after, it should be a good heart. So let's see what this means. If you want to get the full explanation of the Mishnah, that we did in our last class, but we'll continue here from where we left off last time. We left off on Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon Omer, haroa es nolad, someone who's going to see what's going to happen, going to see the future. So does this mean you have to be telling people to be a prophet, to know the future? So what does it mean? Shenaisen einov al kol drachav, he looks to see what he's doing. He looks before he leaps. He sees things that are going to happen before they happen. Let's see, he sees that some of his actions, it'll lead to a temporary benefit, but in the future, it'll lead to a loss. It'll lead to a sin. He distances himself from it. And with this character trait, he'll never sin because he always is aware of what pitfalls and challenges could arise if he chooses a certain course of action, and he stays away from it. He's a very wise person because he considers the reward of a sin as versus its loss, what you lose for a sin. If you weigh the temporary benefit for a sin versus what a person loses for it, as we discussed earlier in earlier classes, it is definitely not worth it. Therefore, a person should act in this way, to think what's going to be in the end. And to act in this way. So, Roes Hanolad means a person is very wise. He thinks about what he does before he's going to do it, and he sees, this course of action might give me a temporary benefit, but in the end of the day, if I keep acting this way, it's going to cause me to sin, or it's going to cause a loss. And since a person knows that, he backs off of it. Now, if a person isn't this wise, that's why it's good to have a Torah teacher who can assess certain actions based on the value of Torah and can guide a person based on those values and what the values of Torah are. And also an older person, an older Torah scholar, even better because he's got the life experience and he knows when you do certain things what could happen after you do certain things because he's been there, done that. That's why it's good to have an experienced Rebbe to ask advice. Okay, now that was Rabbi Shimon. Now what did Rabbi Elazar say again? Rabbi Elazar said the best thing is a leiv tov, a good heart. Rav Moshe ben Maimon, Zichron Baruch, and so the Rambam perish. So first he's citing, before he cites his own explanation, he's going to say the explanation of the Rambam. What does it mean to have a good heart? This is an attribute for the rectification of one's character traits. A person's outlooks and his character traits come from the heart. And when he's got a good heart, all of his character traits and his outlooks and his views, they come from the heart. So if he's got a good heart, all of these things will be good too. And he'll be happy with his portion. And he'll always make sure to cleave to goodness. And he only wants something that has a purpose and will not cause a loss. And also this is the explanation of Rabbi Meir Halevi. V'emes ki adavar kain hu ki divrei. Now the Rabeinu Yonah says it's true what they're saying. These are very important character traits. Ach ein haperish mishyasha lefi darcheinu. However, according to the way we are explaining the Mishnah, it doesn't fit. Al kain yir lefarish ki leiv tov. He says a leiv tov is something else. Right, he's saying that leiv tov in the context of how he explained the Mishnah, which we talked about in our last class, he will give another explanation for leiv tov. Rotza leimer midas haratzon. Zehu hasavlan means a person has midas haratzon. What is midas haratzon? A person who is patient. A good heart means he is patient. She'eno k'tzar ruach. He doesn't have a short wind. He doesn't get upset easily. Umisrachik midas hakas umeshiv ba'nerach. He distances himself greatly from the attribute of anger, from getting angry. He's very careful not to get angry. Af kiyasu ladavara yizbelehu ve'ein marva fiyu. Even when someone does something bad to him, he doesn't react harshly and he doesn't have bitterness in his mouth. Kichiko mamtakiv v'kulam machmadim. His palate is sweet and it's all delights. So a leiv tov, according to Rabeinu Yonah, and this is what Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said is the greatest midah, the greatest character trait, is to be a person who has patience and doesn't get angry easily. And even when somebody insults him, he doesn't answer back, even when he's right. We're in Elul now, and one of the things that a person can do to merit a righteous judgment is when somebody does something bad to you, you don't take revenge, you don't answer back, you forgive them. Because it says that the way we treat others and the way we forgive others is the way that Hashem treats us and forgives us. So if we're very easy to not get angry with others, even when they do something wrong, so then Hashem will act to us in that way also. So Amar lahem roani divrei Rabbi Elazar ben Arach shebechal devarim divreichem. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said that I see the words of Rabbi Elazar ben Arach because included in his words is your words. Ki adam shemida kazel shochenes b'kirbo, a person who has this attribute of patience and not being angry. Tov hu gam lechaveirav u'l'shchenav. He's good to his friends, he's good to his neighbors, u'l'chol olam kol, and to the whole world. Gam midas hanadivos yeshol. He's also a giving person. A person like this is very giving. Ki imem min haguf v'halev misnadiv. If from himself in his heart he's giving, livnei adam lachbatz b'chol chavtzei v'las v'tzonim. Right? He's a patient person who doesn't get angry, and he's the type of person that always does things for others. That's using his own body. So for sure, he'll be just as giving with his money, although more so he'll be giving with his money. If he's giving with his own time, his own efforts, his own energy, although more so he'll be giving with his money. And every good attribute dwells in such a person. A person who has this attribute of a leiv tov has all the positive attributes. Sham kol hayamim lachshov machshavos lasos malachas Hashem mirov hadvekus b'shem yisala hu elav adavarahu. He's saying that when it comes to a person's actions to do mitzvahs, to do a physical action, that's somewhat easy. But a person who has these attributes, that's a much higher level. It sounds like perhaps it's more difficult to achieve. But a person who has this leiv tov, and again, a leiv tov is one who is slow to anger. He's a patient person, always trying to do good for others. So basically, he's not thinking about himself. He realizes that he's not the only one in the universe, and he's not the center of the universe. So someone who has this good heart, that is what Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai says is the best character trait, and that is it includes every other positive character trait that was said before by the previous Tanaim. Okay, next time, God willing, we will continue with the second half of this Mishnah. Wishing everyone a beautiful day.